You establish a brand's position through associations. Consider the luxury hotel brand Mandarin Oriental. They built an association between their brand and top celebrities. Their campaign featured photos of celebrities with the simple text, "He's a fan" or "She's a fan," along with their logo. By associating with top celebrities, they position their brand as luxurious in customers' minds. There's nothing fundamentally luxurious about the name or the logo. It could be a brand for Mandarin oranges. It's the associations that give it meaning, that breathe life into a brand. Top celebrities might be out of reach for you, but you could easily afford someone on Cameo.com. You could hire famous actors from shows like Full House, The Office, or 90 Day Fiancé to make you a short video. Let's say you pay $1,000 for the rights to use that video for several months and you amplify it with ads on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. That's a quick way to build your brand through association. Think about the apparel brand Lacoste. There's nothing inherently preppy or upscale about a crocodile. Crocodiles can just as easily be associated with swamps in the poor countryside. What gives it meaning is when presidents like John F. Kennedy are seen wearing that crocodile while playing tennis. That builds the association between status, sports, and the Lacoste brand. Since society is less preppy today, Lacoste has to stay relevant by building new associations. They partner with Bruno Mars, National Geographic, Polaroid, and so on. These help frame the brand in people's minds to make it culturally relevant today. People learn through associations. Think about how children learn new words. It's through context. When mom is angry, she says this. When we go to Disneyland, she says that. Rarely are we explicitly told what things are. People define your brand through associations instead. If you tell them something that doesn't align with those associations, they don't believe you. You can't put lipstick on a pig. Telling them explicitly that what you are won't work. Copywriting is not enough. You have to use signals. One of the most important signals is the price point. If you're a consultant charging $100 per hour, that sends a very different signal from someone billing out at $1,000 per hour. The same thing is true for hotels. The top hotels in Singapore charge about $1,000 per night. If you want to compete with the Marina Bay Sands or the Raffles, you should price yourself above $1,000. When you send mixed signals, customers get confused and your brand is weakened. Burberry struggle with this. A lot of tough people on the streets of the UK wear Burberry clothing. The brand is supposed to be aspirational and sophisticated, but it's associated with uncouth behavior. This confuses the customer. Consider Ralph Lauren Purple Label, the priciest sub-brand of Ralph Lauren. Cotton t-shirt sells for $200, whereas a polo Ralph Lauren t-shirt sells for half that. There might be some slight difference in the construction, but the biggest driver of the price difference is simply the brand. The brand is operating on a completely different dimension from the product itself, and it creates values in ways that the product cannot. A basic cotton t-shirt from Ralph Lauren Purple Label sells for more than a cashmere or silk shirt from another brand. One of the most important lessons from this course is that you have to decouple the brand from the product. This is one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of the 4 Ps. It's unclear where the brand fits. Is it part of the product, part of promotion, part of packaging? None of these is truly accurate because the brand is an asset that is separate from all of these and should be managed accordingly. In fact, the original marketing mix before the 4 Ps had 12 elements, including the brand. Here's an example of how branding is separate from product marketing. Consider the website for Smartly.io. They do a good job with branding. The fonts, colors, animations, icons, and so on are all great. They create the perception that this is a market leader, a default brand choice for this particular type of software. They also associate with credible brands like Forrester and PwC, further validating their leading position. But when I look closer at their copywriting, it is quite vague. They use phrases like move your advertising forward and amplify your ad potential. I don't know what these mean. It sounds like the copywriter doesn't even understand the product. The specific use cases are unclear and unspecific. So in my opinion, their product marketing is weak, but their brand marketing is very strong. Good marketing gets both of these right. I want to further explain the difference between a product and a brand. I don't just mean here the corporate brand as distinct from the product, because even individual products can have their own brands. The world's most iconic microphone may be the Shure SM7B. This famous microphone is associated with top celebrities like Michael Jackson and Joe Rogan. Simply seeing these people use the microphone is enough to solidify its credibility. Objectively and subjectively, however, the Blue Sona from Logitech is a better product. It's also cheaper, but customers quite often don't buy the best product. they buy the best brand. Brands provide a sense of security, safety, credibility, and more than anything perhaps, it's the associations that built the SM7B's brand. The brand name isn't very good and the design is outdated. What breathes life into the brand is the associations with influencers. One of the key questions you should be asking is, what do you want your brand associated with? Go on particular podcasts or webinars to associate your brand with the brand hosts that have these shows. Find influencers on sparktoro.com or m1project.com and get those influencers to represent your brand in videos. Then promote those videos for maximum reach. For example, using Facebook ads or YouTube ads. A common mistake with influencer marketing is paying influencers thousands of dollars to mention your product once in social media. This one-off activation has minimal impact. That's because people generally buy products throughout the year. Best practice is to promote your brand continuously and equally throughout the year. There are exceptions like highly seasonal products, but the general rule is to spread your marketing. The idea here is that instead of prioritizing reach and frequency, you prioritize reach and recency. Recency means customers are most influenced by your marketing when it happens recently to when they're ready to buy. You improve your chances of being recent when you promote continuously rather than sporadically. My point here is that you should take the video the influencer made for you and run it as an ad. You're not just paying the influencer for distribution. In fact, you can do the distribution yourself with advertising. What you want is the association between that influencer's personal brand and your brand. That credibility can amplify the effectiveness of all your marketing. When I was a brand manager for PlayStation, one of my brands was reviewed by PewDiePie, the top YouTuber. That association helped bolster my brand. Master & Dynamic is a headphone brand I never would have considered buying until this happened. Their headphones appeared as product placement in the show The White Lotus. Rich people in the show who could afford any headphones that they wanted are seen wearing these. Online, people confuse these for another pair of headphones I already own. So Master & Dynamic created a series of associations that make me consider their brand, that make me take it seriously. They also decided to use a premium material called beryllium in their product. Now, whether that ingredient actually improves performance is beside the point. It created the perception of high performance. Because I associate beryllium with other high-end headphones, it's like putting real gold into shampoo. The quantity might be too low to be perceived, and the gold might not even help at all with the product, but it helps tremendously with perception. Partner with other companies you want to associate with. When I worked for a Series A company in fintech, we formed an exclusive partnership with Intuit that helped bolster our brand. My brother published a video game with a company well known for games set in space. I formed partnerships with some AI software companies. All these partnerships build associations in people's minds. Now you might consider that some associations you're forming are bad ones. For example, having a cheap website makes it difficult for you to charge a premium price. Aligning with shady affiliates might make your brand seem like it belongs in some back alley near pawn shops. Some of the easiest ways to build associations is by placing items in your ads. For example, a private jet, a Rolex, a clean modern house. These all help position your brand subconsciously.